Nikola Topic got off to a hot start with Mega Meese and quickly boosted his stock, taking an already intriguing game up another level or two. Midway through the season, he went back to the organization he grew up in with Red Star to get some Euroleague experience in the process, but he unfortunately suffered a couple knee injuries and it's now been reported that he has a partially torn ACL. He's a 6'6" guard and one of the youngest players in the draft and makes a great impact as a downhill driver, playmaker, and pick and roll operator. Now he has several things to improve in his shot, his scoring versatility and defense, but his high upside and production at his age will likely keep him considered in the top 10, even including some of the injury questions. Topic is pretty easily one of, if not the very best driver in this class, and has had some of the best stretches getting downhill from any guard in the last several years. Now he is a strictly below the rim guy and playing the bulk of his games in the ABA. They don't have a ton of NBA level athletes or rim protectors around, but his sheer volume of efficiency and craftiness at his age is good enough to bet on making that adjustment to the next level. He has a number of different off-foot finishes and moves in his bag around the bucket and has great body control to play at full speed and still find a way to convert. And a lot of this was shown while playing in the pick and roll. He was extremely efficient, he sets up screens well, he has good pace, and has several moments just kind of weaving his way through a defense. He handled different coverages and plays from a number of different starting spots on the floor, and he's taking advantage of bigs on switches using his speed. Again, he's on the very short list of best advantage creators and pick and roll operators this class has to offer, and to put all these pieces together and get results at 18 and at this level with this type of responsibility that Mega was giving him, it was objectively impressive.
Kako je ovo ušlo? Jednocifren, Topić sa drugoj strani. Može li Mega do prednosti na drugi obrov?
In the game, joint high scorer for his team. So the reverse.
Lopte. Preuzima Kaminski. Topić na drugi obrov, izvukao je ovo. Ne može Mega očigledno bez uzbudljive završnice ove sezone. Topić ide na prodor. Obišao je Žganeca. Kako si blokira? Ima ovdje dosta kontakta. Topić iz rollinga sada. Šta radi Nikola?
Igra se.
Dobro izašao na taj šut Andrija Jelavić. Topić prošao nekako između. Topić lepo se provukao i više gledamo Brca sa loptom na ovoj utakmici, odnosno sa Cibonom. Ode Nikola. Vratio je brzo ekipu na +5. Topić na tablu. Za sada ove sezone, možda je ovo najava nove njegove završne dobre deonice. Topić pod faulom, vrlo verovatno. Najviše 20:7. Topić u akciji, ide Topić do kraja. Nikola Topić oklevajući dribling, divno. Evo ti poen za Jamesa Nadelija. Topić, evo njegove promjene ritma, izvio se Topić.
62 koša zabila Cedevita Olimpija. A primila...
Topića pomoći na sličan način Mega odigrati, ali Jelavić se sada izvukao vano da otvori reket Topić na prodor i probio je jedan.
Partizan sve opušteniji. Kontra. Evo.
Topić, to su te promjene ritma kojima Topić...
Bacanja protiv FNP, ali imao i nešto promašaja kada je imao jednu lošu seriju prije nego je odlučio.
The presence of Joe Bolomboy causing him to blow the layup. Topic keeping it himself. Coast.
Now what he's able to do as a passer and playmaker is also super intriguing and makes up a great amount of his appeal. He's a natural at using his downhill ability to make those more reactive reads, kicking it out or making dump offs and wraparounds, both in close and even a few out to the perimeter. And in the pick and roll, he's got a good feel for his options. It's maybe not the most versatile passer, but a very good one still. He does well off the live dribble, he handles more aggressive coverage as well, and I liked how he used pass fakes and some manipulation to open up windows just enough to make something happen. We mentioned this earlier in the year, but there are times where he can force some passes to the roller when other looks are developing, but for the most part he gets it done. Again, I would hesitate to put that elite passer tag on him. I don't think he has the advanced looks, threading the needle, or just simply creating points that weren't there, but he's absolutely a plus guy. He takes care of the ball, and I'd expect him to be impactful here, even if his role shifts a bit.
Miljenović, Topić, u kontroli je Ljubičić, a to znači...
20 points the arrears. Inside to Bolomboy up.
Prva dva koraka uvjerljivo je lijepo, ali nakon toga zapeo, što im se zna događati.
Bilovac pokupio.
I ostavi ga na parket. Topić, dobar pas, zakucaj.
Nenada Stefanovića na startu nastavka. Besson je ostao na zemlji, Topić ima dosta prostora i da asistira i da poentira.
Ponovo napada tu Avramović, dribling, izvukao se Topić, podelio sjajan pas i polu na ovom mjestu.
Na ovom mjestu, ne u novom mjestu.
Tako je.
Topić je divno dodavanje, kakav potez Topić.
Protiv ekipe Cibone, šutirao trojke 3 od 7. Ovdje Jelavić pokušava da pogodi za...
Topić i Janković u igri u piku, Topić je pas za Ilja Solova koji će šutirati za 3 poena, ali neće.
Đurišić menja stranu, Kobzisti za 3.
Kaši iz Ljubljane u prvome dijelu. Puno izgubljenih lopti Mege, puno promašenih slobodnih bacanja, tako da je ova razlika objektivna.
Mekić je bio blizu. Topić prolazi, evo novog otvorenog šuta i...
Rješenje ili je fauliran. Topić. Đurišić za 3. Neće pa neće.
Topić ponovo za cijeli čas se nalazi u tranziciji, kakva asistencija iza...
za... Da vidimo odlično dodavanje jednom rukom iz driblinga.
Zvezde uz njega i onda greška Kovačevića, Topić, gledat ko će stići, a stizao je Mitrović i uz faul.
Svakako je usud za FNP da se pojavi Besson.
Dobar pas.
Odličan pas, Ilja je sam, sada će pogoditi korner.
Topić za Maloveca, divno dodavanje Nikole.
Bio je Malovec blizu toga da preseče ovo dodavanje, Malovec u kontri.
Nedović hangs it up for Davidovac, comes back down with it, goes up.
Kad je došao prošle godine,
There's a mismatch down low. Look at Gillespie. Body Yamadar who's trying to front. Nice catch down low. Pump fake up strong. Now Nedović. Screen set by Bolomboy. Caboclo helping out in a double team. Open three-pointer for Dejan.
Now the biggest area for improvement and swing skill for Topic is his three-point shooting, and related to that being able to play more off the ball. He shot about 30% on the year, 27% on catch and shoot threes, and just hasn't been able to command real attention from defenses yet. I think the footwork and energy transfer is pretty good, but he shoots a very flat ball and rarely gets full extension at the elbow and almost pushes it off his palm at times. The encouraging thing for him is he's been an excellent free throw shooter for multiple years, and for those that actually take threes, history is suggestive in many of those players becoming better shooters in the future. When you match it with his touch around the rim, I think I'm on board, at least with him getting to a respectable level. The bigger picture concern though is just in how little we've seen him impact the game off the ball. He was at least forced to play there more with Red Star, which is good, but it was still a super limited look, and that inability to of course shoot high percentages but also cut, move, and even operate as more of a secondary ball handler and attack closeouts is still a big question. Whether it's fitting into an offense or down the line playing off of better stars, I'm not 100% sure what that looks like for him right now, but the shot will be the easiest path to getting somewhere. His lack of scoring versatility beyond drives and struggles off the dribble from 2 and some from 3 have been a concern as well. He's had a lot of moments where a floater or pull-up would have been a much better option than forcing a shot at the rim, and he just hasn't been very comfortable getting to those shots yet. I also think he can do a better job of reading his defender in recovery and playing with their momentum. He's very north-south in a lot of ways, and when he's gone up against more physical players and those with better anticipation, it's caused some issues when that initial move gets cut off. Now, paint touches and threes are always going to be the name of the game. I'm not looking for a bunch of DeMar DeRozans or just trying to find this perfect player with any of these guys, but It's tougher to succeed when layups are your only real efficient source of offense.
Double team near the sideline as Caboclo hedges out to help. Topic has lost the basketball again twice.
On će svoje minute potvrđivati kroz nastavak.
Matchup zone. Topic take it to your dealing with the occasion and the atmosphere very well indeed as Topic drives goes for
Rade igrači Goke. Samo gdje su bili do sad.
Odvajanje, pa onda nakon toga prijenos lopte na drugu stranu. Zadar se uspio nekako skupiti u rekiju.
Zapao je Miljenović, Topić mora u realizaciju, težak šut za 2, pogađa ga Nikola Topić. U Železniku potpuni egal, 64-64, a mnogo igre je za nama. Topić, floater, divno.
Now off the dribble from 3, I have a lot less concern and actually love the confidence that he showed. He quickly identified drop and unders, which is a vital step, and the percentages were solid, though not the biggest sample. He loves hang dribbles, tween hangs, hezzy pulls, whatever you want to call them, from above the break. I haven't seen much variety beyond that, but late clocker on switches, that's a go-to, and it's absolutely been there. He's young and confident enough to be a real threat from out here eventually. In fact, I would expect it to some degree, but overall, he's got to be able to attract defenses and counter beyond the rim. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot tougher to be a primary and impact games in the way that you want him to.
Da se očisti strana, da igra 1 na 1, Topić za 3, preko.
Malo prije onu prvu, ovdje još i uvjerljiviju.
Blok na strani će se ovdje Topić, naravno, opet ide Lakić ispod bloka, Topić će uzeti šut.
Now on the defensive end, I didn't think he was overwhelmingly bad and the effort was there pretty consistently, which is important, but I don't have confidence in him ever adding much value here. He's not a very good lateral mover, he has slower hips, his closeout footwork was sloppy, and he didn't really bother anybody on ball or on contest. The screen navigation wasn't very good either, even with some egregious illegal screens that he had to fight through, and I'd imagine teams are going to target him pretty often, especially early on, and there's obvious concerns in him straight matching up with other lead guards nightly. Off the ball, I thought he was okay. He's not much of a playmaker and didn't have to do a ton in terms of ground coverage or rotations, but his positioning was fine. He didn't make a ton of mistakes beyond a couple backdoors that were in there, and I would expect him to be okay here. And on the positive side of things, he had a few stops, his effort was already there, and he is big enough that it'll be tougher to be picked on the interior. Now, there's plenty of bigger negative defenders in the league, but he should have enough to at least take up space, and if the effort can be sustained, it should keep him afloat, though he's not likely ever going to be great.
Pavličević ide na prodor, povratna, Mirković.
10 cm visine. Kops. Bez ozlijeđenog Uroša Plavšića. Premda da vam budem iskren, dok je ovdje Milijašević ubacio Luka Mitrović. Mi smo u zadnje 2 minute treće četvrtine. Osobna pogreška.
Still able to find the finish on a terrific score. Beautiful backdoor cut from Scotty Drought over the last 3 games from three-point territory for Dejan Davidovac. His team doubling up Partizan. 4 points the advantage. Picked off by Topic.
Na kraju prve četvrtine. Velika greška. I sad će to Topić čak stići.
And then you've got the injury questions. Of course, from this distance, it's hard to have a fully formed opinion on this stuff. A partially torn ACL is pretty rough to have during a pre-draft process, but according to Draft Express, doctors are pretty optimistic in the state of his knee right now and think he'll be in good shape. I do think it'll affect his stock some and make him a harder sell in the top 4, but his evaluation as a player doesn't really change unless they think it'll hamper his ability to get downhill, which is ultimately his superpower. Topic is one of the few players that have the upside to be a primary, maybe not a true number 1 option, but one of your lead playmakers, and even in a lower tier outcome, I think it's going to involve him initiating. Otherwise, he's probably not playing too much. Defensively, he'll probably be best as a team defender and someone you can cross match a bit given his size. He'll have to defend at the point of attack, but that's something I'd probably like to avoid as much as possible if he's good enough to make roster decisions with him in mind. He has one of the highest ceilings in the class to me, and probably a little more than a borderline all-star all-star top 40 type of player, but that feels most attainable, and the majority of it will be dependent on where the shot and scoring versatility go. He probably would have had a better shot at going higher with better injury news, but with all the teams invested in their backcourts, it already made his range fairly wide. San Antonio was the best fit to me, Utah after that, and though 2 is probably a little high, Washington does make sense on paper. Comparison-wise, there isn't a clear one, but bigger Goran Dragic is someone I think he could look like as he expands as a perimeter scorer with the type of downhill craft he already has. After that, you can throw out a Jeremy Lin, a Ricky Rubio, more aggressive Josh Giddey, but nothing else really adds too much to what we've already laid out. Nikola Topic is one of this class's most interesting prospects as one of the best playmaking talents who produced at a high level and already does some things exceptionally well. He has some question marks in a lot of supporting areas, with the injuries only adding to some of the skepticism, but in the right spot his talent is surely worth the risk, and he could deliver on some upside that very few others have in this class.